Now we see the mortars on the on the field as well. Mortars are good. Could be a little early for mortars because these armored cars are so dangerous at this point. But definitely mid to late game, mortar teams are the way to go because the positions tend to get very locked, and mortars are great at just digging out troops and things like that. Again, looking around here, we can see it looks like the machine guns are doing a pretty good job at just kind of lightly corralling these armored cars, but they got to be careful. See, look at the damage that it takes, though. The kind of crossfire, the overlapping fire from those machine guns, pretty nice indeed there. Especially with a random lucky mortar hit, that can be pretty good too. So they're being forced to kind of keep their distance here. This poor, oh no, yet another rifleman squad down there. MrMojo Rising having a hard time retreating troops. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for all those Dawn of War 2 players out there, in Dawn of War 2 you hit X to retreat. In Company of Heroes, you hit T to retreat. Common mistake there. I'm sure that's not what he was doing now. Anyhow, looking around, you can see a really forward position here. Looks like NTD Sniper doing a good job just kind of hanging out in the front right now, but there are some counter-sniper warfare going on. And it looks like, could it be, we have a call incoming. Let me swap on over to Neubine here. And yes, it is. Oh, no! Ridiculous. That was a firestorm being called in there. That is a terror ability. Fantastic to call in stuff on top of immovable positions. That is the remains of an anti-tank gun right there. So absolutely took out that anti-tank gun. However, we do have the fast Sherman out on the field right now by NTD as well. So that's something that the Axis have to do with as well. Looks like NTD is going to have to back away for the time being. As you can see, this pack is just kind of firing while cloaked up there. And for the most part, things are kind of quiet here. Looks like we're building up. That Sherman was pretty much just poking out there to see what the water was like, but it looked like bumping into that anti-tank gun. He needed to back off a little bit there. Always tricky. Again, historically, it's kind of interesting that they made these packs cloak. I think the logic there was that since the Allies were invading territory that had been already previously defended by the Germans, the idea is that they wanted to give the Germans a little bit of an edge. Like they already had tank guns there, so the Allies kind of stumble into them. So the feeling is, it's definitely there when you see it in multiplayer action. Anyhow. Oh no, it looks like the heavy machine gun teams are under a little bit of fire. Again, this mortar team is out there in the front here. We can see just constant kind of incursions happening kind of all around the map. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around a lot. Again, in 2 versus 2 games, it's kind of hard to hold on and see what's going on here. Taking a look up here, we can see another pack coming out right now. So Neubine is definitely on pack duty. Oh yes, and we've got a Nebelwerfer coming out right now for Joe as well. And it looks like, oh no, right as he was trying to make his retreat, this is the armored car that was upgraded with the 50mm gun. It hit that one landmine we saw earlier had been placed there. So fantastic use of a landmine. This guy is in slow motion out of control. Very unfortunate. You can see he was driving his tank up there to hope that it would crash it. This is actually can be very nightmarish sometimes when this happens, because you can see he's doing the slowest possible 360, totally slow motion, but his cannon will keep auto firing during that time. So sometimes I've seen slow motion Ostwind when it dies, it can kill like 3 squads of riflemen if it does a slow motion spin like that. So be sure to get the hell away from those things when they do that, because unfortunately you can't target them again and just finish them off, which is pretty bad there. Here we start seeing, where is it exactly? There it is. So this is very important now. So the single position up here, this building that NTD was holding on to with its machine gun team, was very, very key in the defense of this area. It absolutely helps lock down this victory point and this victory point. And so now we can see Nebelwerfer up here in the north is being used just to kind of start putting pressure on this building. Definitely a great idea. And now you can see that both sides are kind of starting to back off and use more artillery support and whatnot. Oh, damaged engine from a mortar shot. Every now and then that happens, and it's pretty lucky. You can see the mortar team doing pretty good. I think this guy was planning on coming out here and trying to kill this mortar team. He may still, but he's definitely kind of more exposed now that that's going on. We do have a sniper out here with 9 kills. It's always hard to track snipers throughout the course of the game. A lot of times watching replays, when I was just used to watch games for myself just for fun, I would actually try and watch one sniper the whole game just to really see what he does. It's kind of fun. Taking a look around, we will see heavy machine gun team again. Makes it really hard for the Axis to capture this point, or that point, obviously. But it looks like they are actually moving in right now. We can see the Volksgrenadiers coming in to put some pressure really close on this building, taking cover Green cover actually behind this wrecked vehicle is not a bad idea. However, the mortar team being used in great close support here, just kind of knocking around all these troops. And again, this is the real tricky part here, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like Joe is just going to have to retreat out of there. It's too tricky. You can see it wasn't the most lethal thing ever, but it was just impossible for him to make any headway in trying to get in here and capture this stuff. Unfortunately, it looks like we have yet another Nebelwerfer shot going off here. Unless, of course... No, that wasn't Firestorm. That was definitely Nebelwerfer. And, oh, unfortunately, it looks like I can see dead bodies laying in this room here. The heavy machine gun team that was in that building has gone down. Definitely a good idea right there. We see some troops retreating off here. Oh, somebody hit a mine. I believe a sniper perhaps just hit a landmine there. That's no good. Packs are creeping up. Snipers are around here, and the battle is starting to develop. So now we're moving our way into late game, and check it out. After having taken out the machine gunner in that building here, neubine not wasting any time, moving in with his flamethrower engineers, his flamethrower pioneers, and just going to cap that point. You can see that the purpose of these two units here is just to distract right now. They're in nice heavy cover being behind these sandbags. Oh, a hand grenade goes off right in their face. They can't do much versus a Sherman, obviously, but they certainly can slow down the troops that are going to come up here and buy time for this squad in the rear to cap that victory point. Looking pretty good. And check out the awesome flank by Joe with his stormtroopers right now, using double Panzerschrecks, firing away point blank, but we do have a hand grenade right behind them as well. Looks like it missed, however, and bam! Down goes the Sherman, and the stormtroopers here are going to kind of weaken up this area. NTD quickly responds by getting a heavy machine gun back in that building right now. A little bit of fire being... Holy crap, a little bit of fire being used in that building and instantly killing that entire machine gun team. That was very unfortunate. Second Sherman driving up, though, and anti-tank guns and everything else like that. So, again, really intense fire going off here. But the Germans, however, have managed to pick off a 3 cap right now. So it is 303 points right now. And here we have what looks like yet more Nebelwerfer shots coming down all over the place. Beautiful use right now. Nebelwerfer. I know I don't pronounce German well at all. And we even have a Stug 4 out right now. Stugs can be produced from the Sturm Armory. It's kind of it's a pretty tough tank, honestly. It doesn't have a turret, though, so it makes it kind of hard to maneuver, and it's kind of slow. But it can be really brutal. Oh, and check out the mines we've got laid in the center right now. God, look at these guys just taking so much damage right now. This is really brutal. Firestorm now being called down on top as well. That's absolutely going to wreck all these gentlemen. Oh, just knocking them everywhere, killing the gun, killing everything. Brutal looking fights going on here. You can just see massive casualties happening on both sides. This Sherman being backed up here by, oh no, not being backed up by anybody actually. That's just a bunch of medics running around right now. Probably going to burn to death, although I guess the medics are going to make it out of there. So you can see now the Allies have been completely pushed out of this area. Not only has the wall been taken out, the building has been taken out, all of that's been taken out here. They're still trying to hold on dearly and try and cap stuff right now, but the Germans have a massive counterattack right now, pushing them all the way back to this forward barracks with a medic hut. And this Sherman here needs some desperate repairs right now. So we can see the Stug back here getting capped. Good use of minesweepers right now and the Pioneers. That'll certainly help out when trying to cap some of these forward positions. And now we're starting to run into this desperate battle over the middle right now. The Allies need to recap something here. They have very light control over this right-hand victory point, but they're going to start running into some real trouble there. I'm going to take a look around right now and see if anything's changed. NTD does have a howitzer shot right now, so he's got this artillery support that he can call in, so he has gone for infantry. Despite going fast tanks and all sorts of weird stuff. Oh god, not only does he have artillery strike, but he's also building a howitzer right now. So we're going to start seeing howitzer shots coming all over the place. This Sherman, oh wow, look at that. So we have the armored car coming in here from Joe. Again, providing just a little bit of sight here as we're going to start seeing the Nebelwerfer just kind of calling in shots all around here. The Sherman tank trying to drive that guy away, but it looks like he's actually going to be okay for the time being. Man, just massive shots coming down all over the place. I want to see where those Nebels are. We got one up there, and it could just be the one combined with Firestorm that's going on here. But very, very important to start looking at positions like these and just trying your best to take out obvious, really, really defended positions like that, because you can see the Allies are just kind of huddled around here. This is like where they're all swarming out of. Right now, I'm going to take a look and swap on over to MrMojo Rising. And we can see Mojo Rising has Allied War Machine out there, so he is definitely going for tanks. Allied War Machine is one of the prerequisites for Calliopes, so likely we'll be seeing some of them. You always want to have a Calliope player in team games. I'm just going to say it. I know there are strategies that don't involve it and whatnot, but it brings so much value to the late game that I'm just going to go out on a limb and just say always have it, especially in 3 versus 3 games or higher. Twos, I'm sure there are plenty of awesome twos games using double airborne and all that sort of thing here. We can see it looks looks like some howitzer shots coming in over here on the right-hand side, being used just to kind of take care of some of these, all of these little skittering around German units coming in trying to cap this area here. This is actually just a straight up the howitzer shot, the commander ability being used right now by NTD, kind of wrecking away at some stuff. And look at these wonderful looking riflemen moving all the way up here. I'm not sure exactly what they're charging quite far behind enemy lines, but check it out. They do have a nice little line of attack right here. Oh yeah, taking care of the packed anti-tank gun. And by the way, this reminds me of a story. I told this in Company of Heroes right now. So you'll notice as soon as the pack anti-tank gun loses 2 men, the last man cannot man the gun, and so he just falls over dead. And so I was always wondering, why does the last guy die? You'd think there'd be like, oh, one guy could like move it but not fire it or something like that, but why does the last gentleman die? And so one year for Christmas, my mother got me a awesome World War II book. I should actually scan this picture sometime. And I was looking through. It's a fantastic book. It's just called World War II. And it just has a full documentary of all these obscure battles chronologically throughout the war. And one point in the middle of this story, there's a single picture. And it stuck with me forever because not only did I like it for retelling the story for Company of Heroes, but it's also just a really amazing picture. So the picture is of a PaK 38 gun. It's actually this exact gun, except for the 2 rear tripod things are folded up. And there's one German guy sitting on the end of the gun, and he's got his helmet off, and he's got both of his hands. He's got his head resting in both of his hands, and he's got a pile of bodies next to him. And the caption just says, German gunner despairs at the loss of his comrades. And so that's what I always think of when I see the last gunner here, is that poor bastard, that poor guy. He was completely left alone. He was sitting on his gun. He had no way to man it. All of his buddies were dead, and he knew his capture or death was inevitable. And so German gunner despairs at the loss of his comrades. And so whenever I see that last guy inexplicably fall over dead, I know it's from a broken heart. He despairs at the loss of his friends. Anyhow, getting right back into this game, there's my random little bit of World War II color commentary for you there. We can see that still, this is the beauty of watching Company of Heroes replays, by the way. You don't even need to know anything about what the hell is going on. You look around here, and this sort of stuff is intuitive. You see rockets landing all over the place, people jumping out of the way, people burning. We can see smoke flares coming in here now, and these guys are looking around like, oh god, what's going on? And oh no, all this stuff is blowing up all over the place. Bodies are flying everywhere. You don't need to know anything about space aliens or crazy balance decisions. Like, this just looks like what you would imagine a war movie looks like. And when I first started doing this game, or even like before I was commentating games ever, like when Company of Heroes was the only game out there, the original vanilla expansion, I just watched replays. I didn't even really play the game that much because they were so much fun to watch. You would just see, like, look at this. You instantly know what's going on here. Artillery shots are being called in on top of this guy. These guys have to get out of here, but no, they get sniped. And once again, by the way, you see the last gunner has to die, getting sniped here by a sniper, trying desperately to run away. And all of these stories just end up sounding like war stories in that they're not perfect. Like, those guys tried to heroically escape. No, bam! This guy came in to try and cover his buddies, just got hit in the face by a howitzer right now. Massive destruction happening all over the place. And that's the feel of this game. A lot of people, whenever you see something like, notice there was an amazing flame, I always want to call it a flame strike, amazing firestorm that happened on top of that building right there. And a lot of players want to be like, man, I couldn't do anything about that. That just destroyed a ton of my troops right now. And I'm so powerless to do anything about it. This artillery just comes in from everywhere. And look at that! Look at that! The destruction everywhere right now. Anti-tank. These guys came up, tried to pick up an anti-tank gun, boom, dead. And a lot of people say, oh, nerf this, nerf that. And it's so much more fun in a game when everybody is overpowered, when everybody has way out of control abilities that can just destroy everything and change the course of the game, versus a game where everybody has only mediocre moves that are balanced and fair. I really love seeing that. Speaking of which, we just had a Calliope come on the battlefield right now. But not only is it fun, it's more fun because it's bigger stakes and more explosions and more like chaos going on, but it's also more true to war. It just feels like a war game in that like huge, massive explosions happen every now and then, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like, oh, I guess all those guys are dead now. Okay, moving right along. Anyhow, so let's take a look here and see exactly what's going on here. Obviously, we've got a Calliope on the battlefield right now for MrMojo Rising. We've got howitzer shots kind of coming out of NTD's base. Taking a look around, we've got a combination of, where did it go? We had a Nebelwerfer somewhere around here. There it is. Nebelwerfer, we had firestorms coming out of the Germans right now, and the only guy that we haven't really pinned down yet is Joe, and Joe does have infantry assault and urban assault support. So Joe is going blitzkrieg. Again, I changed the map color. And we see the first Calliope barrage coming down upon all of these gentlemen here. And you can see there was a very wounded Stug up there and a Stew. The Stew is, it actually has its own little howitzer on it. That is one of the Collins from the Urban Assault Support. And you can see that was a shot from the Stew right there. This thing just is a close-range howitzer. Hopefully we'll see it take another shot pretty soon here. I certainly love seeing this thing fire, but I think he's run out of targets.